Hey guys, Max B here. And if you're watching this video, pretty good chance that you're a dog lover. I know I love our dog, but I gotta admit there are certain things about owning a dog that drive me crazy. If you're being honest, I bet there's things that drive you crazy as well. Before we kind of get into that, I want to go ahead and hit the little like and subscribe button. I'll wait. You do it right now. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into it. One of the things that really drove me crazy when we first got a dog was its dog hair. Good old-fashioned dog hair. And yeah, I know I'm not being very original here. And you're going to say, really, dog hair? Like all dogs shed, or at least most of them do. True, but we weren't really prepared for the amount of shedding and kind of how it really kind of affects your life in a day-to-day basis. All right, so we're going to go over 3 ways that we kind of dealt with it, and we're able to kind of get a grip with the dog hair. All right, so number 1. The first thing we had to do, you got to ask yourself really, is there actually something wrong with my dog? And I know that sounds kind of weird, but there actually was something wrong with our dog. Our dog was shedding a ton. There's a lot of excess shedding. When she would get up, she'd do that body shake, and fur would just kind of explode off of her. It was nuts. It was everywhere. And when it turns out excessive shedding can actually be a sign of something else is wrong with your dog. In our case, our dog was had a food allergy. She actually ended up being allergic to chicken. It took us a while to figure that all out. She had some other symptoms too. She had a lot of paw licking. She had problems actually eating the food, things like that. But it took a little while to figure out what it was and kind of hammer it down. But once we did, things got a lot better. And what we did, we finally put on a food by a company called Only Natural Pet. They made a food called Red Meat Feast, Power Fusion Red Meat Feast to be exact. And it's kind of this raw food that she loves and she's not allergic to. And once we put on that, her behavior changed and the shedding, which is what this is all about, really changed. It made a huge thing. I'll put a link in the description below to the company. But once we put on it was fantastic, and it was really kind of a night and day thing. I mean, we didn't realize it before, but she had this kind of coarse hair prior to that. Now it's kind of much smoother and shinier. And like I said, she's a dog. She still sheds, but not anywhere near as much as she did. So that's one thing. I'm saying your dog would have a food allergy, but it could be something else. But it's worth getting that checked out if you think it's really excessive shedding. Okay. Tip number 2, if you're a girl, you probably already know this one. If you're a guy, maybe not so much, but it's something called a lint brush, and it looks just like this. All right, doesn't look like that because you know what? I can't find our lint brush. We have a ton of them, and I'm going to make this video, and I can't find them. And my wife's upstairs putting the kids to sleep, so I couldn't really ask her for it, so whatever. But we all know there's a little brush here, a little roll sticky on it. You kind of rub it over your clothes, okay? Now, I know it's kind of a lame thing. Again, you pick these things up anywhere. You can pick them up like a CVS, a pharmacy, get them on Amazon. Hell, I'll put a link below for that too. We usually have a ton of them lying around the house. And I'm never a big fan, but every once in a while I have to wear a suit. And you try wearing a dark suit with a white dog. All right, tell me how that goes. All right, you look like a deranged Yeti when you walk out. It's ridiculous. And even if I got out of the house without actually touching anything, I'd have to get in my car. The dog gets in the car, and there's just hair in there. So you just really can't get away from it. So if you get one of these lint brushes, you get up and you just kind of, rub yourself down with it. And it really can kind of help getting rid of it. All right, so definitely recommend a good old-fashioned lint brush. All right, the third thing. Let's have a little story here. I'm an 80s kid. Grew up in the 80s. I know I'm dating myself. But in the 80s, we were promised flying cars by the year 2000. I don't know if you guys remember that, but we were promised those. Now, obviously, we didn't get the flying cars. We're not even close, all right? But you know what we did get? And we do have? Robots. That's right. If you've got a dog, you need a robot. And more specifically, you need a vacuum cleaning robot. And more specifically, you need a robot like this guy right here. Here we go. This is the iRobot Roomba. I think it's a 680, I think is the model. And my wife got this for Christmas. And no, I did not give my wife a vacuum cleaner for Christmas. This wasn't for me. It was actually for my mother, her mother-in-law, which now that I'm saying this out loud is kind of weird too. My mom gave her a vacuum. Whatever. But I will say, my wife, and I quote, she said, this is the best gift she's ever gotten because it is awesome. Thing works really well. You can kind of set it to run We have it set to run, when we're at work during the day, and it just does its thing, kind of go throughout the house, and it gets all the hair up. Every day doesn't get everything up every day, but if you run it day after day after day, it basically just keeps the house really clean. The thing's a miracle. Even if you don't have a dog, we should have bought one of these years ago. Seriously, even without a dog, these things are fantastic. It's one of those things, once you can't really imagine living without the thing. It really does keep a good job. Do you still have to vacuum sometime? Yeah, sure. I mean, like under the couch, under the table, somewhere, that's really kind of narrow that dust can get into, but this thing can't. Sure, but it does a really pretty good job of getting all around. It transitions great between hardwood floors and carpet or linoleum, however you pronounce that. Does a good job there. If you got stairs, it won't go down the stairs no matter what, so you don't have to worry about it kind of tumbling down the stairs. And the thing just works great. And just having that, just kind of had that when you come back home every day, your house just has that feeling of just being cleaner. It's just kind of weird. We'd have a cleaning lady come, once a week, once every 2 weeks we had her, and it was great for a couple of days. And then after a while, the place is just kind of gross and you can't wait till she comes back. To kind of clean stuff up, or God forbid we have to do it ourselves, the horror. But these little robots really do a good job. And again, I'll put a link below to it. I highly recommend getting one of these things. Again, even if you don't have a dog, everybody should have one of these. Now, I do admit that I'm a little freaked out by the fact it's a robot, and I'm not a big fan of AI and all that. I think they're going to kind of take over the world someday. But until then, we can use them to our advantage, and you should get one of these. All right, so that's it. Those are my 3 things that help deal with one of the big things I hate about owning a dog, which is the dog hair. All right. If you have any other ideas or you think I'm out of my mind, just feel free to comment below. And I think that's it. So I will see you guys in the next video. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.